What's going on, guys? It's your host, Jackie Chism, back again with another episode of the Chism Sports Groove. That's the CSG, if you didn't know. And today we got a great episode again, guys. Man, I'm so excited to be back. Woo, we had the Super Bowl just happened, man. We're definitely going to talk about that first and foremost today. We got some Titans news, and we got some AFC South news and Titans time today. Man, we got an NBA-focused Vegas baby today. I can't wait for that. We got hot news and not news. And on my final thoughts, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of my takes on the Big Ben, Ben Simmons, and James Harden trade. So I can't wait. It's going to be a great show. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe and like buttons for me. Definitely big ups for that. We finna get right into it. It's episode 23, guys. Let's get it.
Hit that like and subscribe button, and we always love feedback, so leave a comment. Now, back to your regular scheduled program.
Welcome back, guys. Man, it was actually a good game last night at the Super Bowl. Like, I really, honestly wanted nothing left than just a good game that came down to the end. Like, not a low-scoring game, at least couple of touchdowns, good storylines, no blowouts, and exactly what we got last night. Rams came out on top, 23-20 over the Bengals. Man, it was a good one. It definitely did not disappoint. Cooper Kupp and OBJ came out early in that with touchdowns, giving the Rams an early lead. There was a bobble snap on the extra point, on the second extra point, led to 13-3 at that point. But you can never count out Joe Burrow and those Cincinnati Bengals in this playoff run they got going right now. Man, they came right back. Joe Mixon threw a touchdown to T. Higgins, and I think literally that's one of the best plays of the Super Bowl last night. Like, that throw by Joe Mixon was actually a really good throw. And you see that was his first throw? It's pretty good. Man, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Man. Matthew Stafford, good Lord, bro. He actually played like a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I would give him in this one. The first half and first play of the third quarter, he did not. He played like good old Matthew Stafford. But towards the end of the game, even with that rolled ankle, getting his leg and rolled up on, limping out the game, he still came back, showed, a ton of grit, showed that he could put the ball wherever it needed to be put and do whatever Coach McVay asked him to do. And that's exactly what happened, and literally one of the best reasons why they are Super Bowl champions today. Those two picks, though, I think did cost him Super Bowl MVP. And in my mind, he shouldn't have gotten Super Bowl MVP just because of those two picks. Now, I would give it that the second one was not his fault. It bounced off the receiver's hands, and if it touched your hand, especially on the biggest stage in football, you got to catch that. They trusting you. OBJ went down in that one, and Skoranek, I think is his name, came in to support. You got to catch that. OBJ catches that. I feel like it in that moment. I mean, it sucked to see OBJ go down, but I mean, he definitely still was very productive in the first half before that knee injury happened. I hope to see him come back from that, and I hope that doesn't have any lingering effects for next season, because I feel like LA has two dogs now in Cooper Kupp and OBJ that has to put the NFL on notice for next year. I don't think that this game should have been that close. because of that obviously blown call at the start of the third quarter. Clearly, T. Higgins grabs Jalen Ramsey by his face mask and pulls him past him. And with 18 different camera angles, a million photographers, over a couple, 100 million people watching the game, and how do you, one of the 5 people responsible for calling something on that play, miss it when everybody, 100 million people called it? I don't get it, man. Sometimes officiating is so irritating, but for the most part, I think like after that though, they did get it right. There was no really obviously blown calls left in the rest of the game. I know they're human as well, but come on, that's one you cannot miss. And that actually put the Bengals up early in that game, especially since the very next play, Matthew Stafford throws that interception. They get the field goal from that, and they go up 20-16. But again, shout out to Stafford. Shout out really to Cooper Kupp, though, because he was unguardable in that game. I mean, just all season he's been unguardable, and it just showed again. That touchdown to him at the end with the back shoulder throw was ridiculous. I mean, shout out to Stafford for putting it where it needed to be. But I mean, Cooper Kupp just beat Eli Apple on that one, and it just looked beautiful. It just showed the connection between the two that's been showing all year, and why Cooper Kupp's one of the best receivers in the league. I mean, he definitely deserved to win MVP because for his performance in that one. There was no running games from either side, so I mean, it definitely relied on the quarterbacks, and he just so happened to be on the side where the quarterback's already thrown 2 picks, and you cannot, again, I just could not bring myself to voting for Matthew Stafford to be MVP in that one after you throw 2 picks, even if you throw the game-winning touchdown. I'd rather have given it to Aaron Donald. Man, coming up big in that game with that 4th down pressure to end the game on Joe Burrow. It was the writing was in the stars, man. They gave up the most pressures and they gave up the most sacks pressures all year. That the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line, and 7 sacks in this game. And on 4th down, you give up the pressure to Aaron Donald, even though it looked like he was being double teamed at one point, and still just broke through it. It cost them big at the end there, and you could just see that was going to be their downfall at some point in that game. And first half, the offensive line for the Bengals did well. I think they only gave up 1, maybe 2 sacks in the first half, but the second half, the Rams D line just cranked it up. Leonard Floyd, Ernest Johnson. Von Miller got in there for 2 sacks. Aaron Donald was a beast, and A'Shawn Robinson, boy, he was the catalyst all day. Everybody should be talking about A'Shawn Robinson, and the fact that there's no way he looks like he's 26 years old. Man, I'm 30, and he looks like he got a few years on me with that beard. But he played like he was not 26 years old in that game either. Shouts out to him. I feel like he probably was the defensive player of the game for that team because it ran through him up front in the middle. Everybody paid so much attention to Aaron Donald, in which you have to, that A'Shawn Robinson just had a day. One of his best games he's ever had. Now, I got a few takes, though. I got a few questions. I'm sorry. Not takes, but I got a few questions that I think that has to be answered at some point. And it's one question for each team that is buzzing in my head. How long do we think that the Rams' window to repeat or to make it back to the Super Bowl is? Matthew Stafford is going into his 15th year. He's going 14th year. He's going to be on the wrong side of 35. Aaron Donald's flirting with retirement because he's gotten his ring. I definitely don't think Andrew Whitworth is coming back. He's 40 years old, and he's finally got a ring while beating his former team that he played for 11 years. Great storyline. I don't know. You would think that they would try to upgrade some of the running game as well, because it just was not reliable in that game. Cam Akers is going to come back, big next year. I think Darrell Henderson was huge in that game, especially coming out of the backfield receiving. If you're going to put a defensive end on a really good running back, I'm going to go with that matchup every time. And you saw that it won more times than none. So you got I think that the core guys are definitely going to be back. You're not sure what Von Miller's going to do. You're not sure what your top guys are going to do, especially after such success and reaching that mountaintop. Like, what else are you chasing at this point? But that question definitely needs to be answered. Me personally, I'm not going to say that they're built for the long term, definitely. But they at least have 2 more years after this year that they should be Super Bowl contenders again. I'm not giving Aaron Donald, Von Miller, OBJ, and some of their more seasoned veterans more than 2 years of continuity before the bigger contracts start coming up, cap space starts hitting them, age and nutrition starts coming after them, and retirements as well. So I think that they definitely have some sustainability, at least for next year. They're going to be pushing it if they're trying for 2 more years. Now, on the other end, how long do we think the Bengals are going to continue this Super Bowl window? And if you listen to anybody in the media at this point, Joe Burrow is going to be one of the elite quarterbacks. He might be better than Pat Mahomes. He might be better than Justin Herbert. He might be better than everybody else at some point. But I think that it's 2 things can be true at the same time. I think that Joe Burrow can be an elite quarterback in the league for the next 10 plus years. But I also think that Mike Brown, the owner and president of the Cincinnati Bengals, is too cheap to make sure that they get back into those positions for the next 10 years. I don't think that the way Cincinnati Bengals has been ran over the last 30 plus years is going to change because of this 1 year. Hear me out. They did not go big in free agent. They got very good deals that they could get. We're getting over the last 2 years to rebuild that defense. Added 7 new starters. You added very cheap options and draft picks to your offense over the years to build your offense as well. I don't see them going out and spending good money on an offensive line for Joe Burrow, because that's just not what they do. I can see them drafting people and finding cheaper options that do fit what they do. I don't see them paying big top dollar for any additional cornerbacks on defense as well. So I just think that while they're going to incrementally decrease over time because of it may be injury, because they're not going to get better and everybody else is going to get around them going to get better. I think that the Ravens are going to be aggressive in free agency this year and get better. I think that the Steelers are going to be aggressive in free agency this year and try to get better. I know the Browns have been aggressive over the past few years trying to get better as well. And that's not just something that the Cincinnati Bengals have done over the past 30 years. It's been aggressive in the offseason. So I think that they're going to continue to not be aggressive in the offseasons. They're going to find cheaper ways out to build their team with the talent that they want to afford at the price that they want to pay. And that's going to be their downfall continuously. So that's just me though. That's just what I think. I mean, the Rams shown that you can go out there and spin and win. So that might change a lot of teams' outlooks, especially some that lost in the first round, second round this year and had really good teams in the playoffs. I think that they're going to look at the Rams situation and think, hey, we can hedge the future, and win now, and worry about it later. Because that ring is forever. That trophy is going to be in there, in that building for until it's no longer like a world, to be honest with you. So definitely, that will shape a way that people are going to look at the NFL for the next few years. Also, I think that the Bengals are as well. Like, you can, build with, good, solid acquisitions. You don't have to spend big top dollar on people. You don't have to, you can build through the draft and through scheme fits, making sure you get the right people for the right positions, like the Bengals did. But hey, it's all about now, right? All right, guys. When I come back, we're going to jump right into Titans time. So stay tuned, guys.
Hit that like and subscribe button. And we always love feedback, so leave a comment. Now, back to your regular scheduled program.
What's up, guys? It's Titans time. It's the segment where me, a lifelong Titans fan, goes over a week-to-week basis of what's going on in Titans news. Man, I just want to start off by commending one Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year. Shout out to you, big dog. Man, round of applause, man. Like, you definitely deserve it. For the Titans to have so many injuries, to play 91 players, which is an NFL record this year, and still come out with the number one seed. I know we didn't get it done in the playoffs, but it's a regular season award. And the regular season, like, nobody was faced with as much adversity, losing their best player offensively and defensively, and Derrick Henry, like, who was on pace to run for over 2,400 yards this season, which you lose that much, about 1,500 rushing yards in production this year. You still come out every game with a game plan to put your teams in the best position to win. Not only that, give yourself the first round bye and the number one seed. Mike Vrabel's definitely been a godsend for this team. I feel like in the Titans history, I think that he's already surpassed Jeff Fisher for me. He's the best Titans coach we've ever had, hands down. I hope that he's here for the next 10, 15 plus years before he starts to hang it up. And I hope he doesn't go anywhere else, because then we'll be getting one of the best coaches in football, if not the best coach in football. I think that he's definitely shown that he can beat Vrabel. Vrabel can beat Belichick. We beat him in the playoffs. Used some crazy loopholes to our advantage, outsmarting Vrabel. Vrabel outsmarting Belichick in the playoff game. In regular season games as well. And I'm just excited to have him on the team. I know that we've had some 4th and 5th and 6th round picks that have came through big for us because of the coaching. Because Vrabel does get out there and he does, put hands on you and make sure that your hand motions are right and you're doing the right things in practice. He's not just standing back like McCarthy and, just chilling. So, man, shout out to you, Braves. Big ups. Every Titans fan is excited to have you. Man, who saw this coming? Nobody. Man, this is still just an exciting day for Titans fans all around. All right, next we're going to talk about one Tim Kelly. He's been signed as a senior offensive advisor and our passing game coordinator. I think that this is a huge hire for the Tennessee Titans. Todd Downing struggled mightily in passing calls, passing situations altogether. It literally was AJ and Tannehill just bailing us out at the end of the day. Just get to the sticks, just be bigger and better, have a rocket arm, and have a great wide receiver. They just came up for us, even though, we had so many struggles to pass balls in most games. I do want to say that we were lacking tight end depth. With Michael Brewer going down, it hurt us as well. AJ and Julio missing so many games. No Marcus Johnson. It just was a bad all-around situation for Tennessee in our passing game. Even when Derek went down, our running game was still super productive. So to add Tim Kelly, who was the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans for the last few years, he's done really well with Davis Mills last year. He was offensive coordinator under Bill O'Brien. They had one of the top 5 offenses in the league with Deshaun Watson. So, I definitely give him credit. Not all the credit, but definitely give him some credit for that times as well. But this play calling last year, especially in week 18, opened, eyes for me, and most Titans fans that, hey, we were trying to get that guy last year. We definitely could have used him. Definitely could have used him because Amendola looked like he turned back the hand of time in week 18 against the Titans and had an amazing game. And you know that Amendola is not just going to, line up and beat your team with his speed or stature or with any skill set really. But if you put him in the right positions, he's going to catch it. He's going to get what you can out of that play. So it definitely reflected on Tim Kelly. And if you don't know who Tim Kelly is as well, he is the brother of Dennis Kelly, who was the starting right tackle for the Tennessee Titans for a few years. We traded for him a few years ago. He played backup swing tackle for us. He came in when Warren went down as left tackle. He played right tackle for us started for a year before we let him go last season. So keeping it in the family tree as well. I'm excited to see what Tim Kelly brings to the table because Todd Downing should have been fired in my mind. He definitely was not able to get the best out of the Titans' talent last year in all aspects of the game. So maybe bringing in an offensive advisor is going to help out, kind of like Jim Schwartz did last year coming in last season for our defense. We saw the huge turnaround, from being one of the worst defenses, 2 seasons ago to being, a top 10 defense last year overall. So, I'm excited to see it. All right, next, guys, I will definitely want to talk about Aaron Rodgers buying land in Nashville. Now, I don't know if this is the prelim for anything. There's no inside information that I'm hearing. I've scouted as much sources as I could for information on this, but I just think that there's no state income tax in Tennessee. He's 38. He's years old, so what I'm saying, I think that building a house here, if you build $1 million house in Nashville or in Tennessee in general, it's going to be a mansion. And if you were to move to California with the same $1 million, you're going to find a decent single family home. So I think that has more to do with why he would buy land and build a house here. Especially since there's other NFL stars that live outside or around Nashville as well, because of the pricing, because of the scene as well. I think that Aaron Rodgers and who he hangs out with, the Miles Tellers and the AJ Hawks, it fits right up their alley. So I'm not gonna say that he can build a house to come to Tennessee to play for the Titans, but if you're gonna build a house, it's gonna take a little minute. So you never know what's going to happen. Last but not least, for the Tennessee Titans, I want to definitely talk about A.J. Brown. He was on social media in batting cages, hitting around. He's got a good swing. Definitely got a good swing. And he was drafted out of high school by the San Diego Padres. He recently put up a picture of him playing in a Titans uniform and a Padres uniform. And questioning if he would want to play baseball. Do I think that A.J. Brown is going to play baseball? No. I think that he could have done some spring training with the team like the San Diego Padres that did draft him, it'd be pretty good publicity for the Padres and for AJ Brown as well. Something similar to what Russell Wilson's been doing with the Rangers the past few years and with the Yankees last year. I think that would be something similar like that. It's not. You definitely know Russell Wilson's not going to miss any time with the Seahawks to play for the Yankees or for the Rangers. Like he paid way too much, and he's way too important for that team. Similarly with AJ Brown, I think it's a good joke. He is up for a contract extension, so if it's directed towards the Titans organization, like, hey, pay me, I need to be paid, like, or I got other skills involved. Like, I think that'd be hilarious, and I think that'd be a funny message to send to John Robinson. But I don't think that he's gonna play baseball. There's no way. Football is too taxing of a sport for you to train and do something and go out and try to play another sport on top of that, especially during the regular season. AJ's definitely need to definitely work on trying to stay healthy the whole season, but that's kind of hard when you play the style that he plays. He's a big physical wide receiver that breaks tackles and runs through you. He can run around you or through you. It don't really matter. It's up to you. And physicality just comes with his game. So, I don't think that a physical player like AJ Brown is going to play baseball. I do like the fact that he's keeping that door open for marketing reasons or advertisement dollars later on. All right, guys, we got some AFC South news as well today. We're gonna cover these sorry teams in their division as well. You gotta stay on top of the enemies just like you stay on top of your team. Like I feel. And so we're gonna start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They did hire Doug Peterson to be their head coach. I think that is a okay hire. It's not a good hire. I think that he did very well. Him and Frank Wright together did very well with Carson Wentz to start his career. But we see how that fell off as well with his confidence and how both of them got shipped out the door. I don't think that he had to be their first choice, and I think that Byron Leftwich should have been the pick there. As a Titans fan, I would have been more concerned with Byron Leftwich coming in as the head coach, as I would be for Doug Peterson. I think that this is another 3-year head coaching hire for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's just me. All right, next we got the Texans hiring Lovie Smith, their former defensive coordinator last season, as their new head coach. And I just don't know why Lovie Smith would take this job. Like, why would you take it? Like, they're not trying to win. So if they're not trying to win, they're going to put it on you. Like, the GM, Jack Ellerby, is notorious around the league for being a shitty GM, for being a shitty person as well. I just don't understand why he would take that job. I mean, they had to have some incentives in there that were like, hey, like, you got the first few years won't count against you or something like that, because they will lose. They don't have a very good roster in place, and they still have to find out what they're going to do with Deshaun Watson. So, I mean, that's just a job that I just would not take. I can see why Houston hired from within, because who really would take that crappy job right now? Would you really trust their GM to put the best players available for you to coach and to bring into a season? I don't believe that. I think that is similar to a Hugh Jackson situation as well, in which they're going to be looking for a top draft pick in the next year's draft. All right, last but not least, we're going to talk about the Indianapolis Colts play. And the Indianapolis Colts did reach out and hired Gus Bradley as their head coach. As their defensive coordinator. To replace Matt Eberflus, who was the head coach, who became the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I think that this will probably be the best defense Gus Bradley has been stepping into. He is a very good defensive coordinator, but he does coach a different style. It's unseen from my research if he's going to stick with some of the game planning that they've already had in place, or if he's going to install his own type of cover 3 scheme that he usually uses wherever he goes. As a Titans fan, I don't like this hire. I definitely liked it better than Jim Schwartz going there though. Him being our defensive advisor last year, senior defensive advisor last year, he would have a lot of information from the Titans that he could bring with him to the Colts. So I'm glad to see that didn't matriculate to anything. But Gus Bradley is a good coach. I think that he will get those guys still playing hard. It's going to be a battle next year. It's seen to see, but they got other issues though. And I did see some reports that the Colts could probably move on from Carson Wentz by cutting or trading him before the March deadline that they have before his $15 million is guaranteed for next season. If they're not invested in Carson Wentz and they're not convinced that he's the guy next year, I don't necessarily know that they would keep him on. But $15 million is backup money at this point. For what quarterbacks are getting paid, $15 million definitely is backup money. But it is $15 million that could go towards getting you a different quarterback if they were to end the running to get another quarterback and set a trade for one of the top quarterbacks that want to be on the board this year. All right, guys, that's Titans time. We did go through all the Titans. We got through some of the Titans time news for the Titans that came up. Next time, we're gonna definitely go into some of the mock drafts and some of the underrated free agents that I think the Titans will definitely take a huge look at based on what they've done in the past. All right, guys, when we come back, it's gonna be Vegas, baby. So stay tuned.
Hit that like and subscribe button. And we always love feedback, so leave a comment. Now, back to your regular scheduled program.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
What's up, guys? It's Vegas, baby. This is a segment where we go over we give our locks, chances, and wild cards, and then respond with the good, the bad, and ugly of anything we betted on this week. Today, we definitely want to focus heavy into the NBA season. It's going crazy right now. All-Star breaks right around the corner, so teams are starting to ratchet it up right now. It's a perfect time to jump in. Trade deadlines just passed, so the teams are set to go for the rest of the year. All-Stars are named. We got a great season ahead of us. I can't wait, especially if you are Suns and a Grizzly fan like I am. All right, we definitely want to jump right into the games for Monday, and we're going to also give our locks, which ones will be our locks, a chance or wild card as well. So we start with Monday. We got the Spurs traveling to Chicago to play the Bulls, and I'm definitely gonna go with the Bulls in this one, and that's gonna be my first chance for the week as well. I think that the Bulls are just going to keep their foot on the Spurs' neck. I think that the Spurs just cannot score enough points to stay with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. So this is gonna be a good one for us. Good one for the Bulls in this one, man. It took me a while to get tongue-tied. I was wondering when it was coming. Next, we got the Kings and the Nets. And I think the Kings are definitely favored in this one. And I'm just going to go with the Kings. The Nets, the way they played, if Kevin Durant don't hurry up and come back, I don't know if they're going to be in the top 6 seeds or they're going to be in a play-in game. I think that they're trending more towards a play-in game at this point. hopefully they can get those new acquisitions playing. Andre Drummond and Seth Curry. I know that Ben Simmons is going to be a while before he gets ready, but I think that they can come in and add some depth as well to that team. So I mean, you never know what you're going to get yet. All right, last but not least, on Monday we got the Golden State Warriors going to the Crypto.com arena. I hate that name already. Should stay with Staples. Man. To play the Clippers, not the Lakers, the Clippers. But I'm gonna give a lock this week to the Golden State Warriors in this one. I think that Clay has been playing out of his mind since he's been back. Steph has been Steph, and Kuminga. Shout out to you. He's not playing like a rookie at all. He's playing really well right now. Definitely a big piece for them off the bench. All right, guys, we'll jump right into the Tuesday games, and we'll start off with the Mavs traveling to Miami to play the Heat. And I'm gonna give my second chance of the week is going to Miami Heat. I like what they got down there. They got some shooters. Even with Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero being out, missing games recently, Strauss and Jimmy Butler, they're still keeping them together, man. Bam Adebayo is still playing at a high level. I like what they got down there. So I definitely think that Heat are going to pull out in this one. It's not a lock for me, but I'm going to take it as a chance. Next, we got the Celtics going to 76ers play Joel Embiid and Philly. See, I don't know, man. Like, if James Harden is playing this one, I think that Philly definitely is going to play out of their minds with James Harden being there, especially his first game in Philly. If this is his first game in Philly, I'm not sure yet. But Celtics, man, they're so iffy. They're so iffy. Like, one game they'll come out and just lay an egg. The next game they'll come out and compete with anybody and everybody. So I'm gonna go with the 76ers though in this one. I think Joel Embiid is just too much of a monster to pull. He's gonna pull it out in the end if nothing else. Next, we got the Clippers going to Phoenix to play the Suns, and this is gonna be my second lock for this week. I'm going with the Phoenix Suns in this one. I just think that 10-plus point win. I think Chris Paul and Devin Booker are just the best backcourt in the game right now. And them getting Torrey Craig back is going to help a lot. I know Jalen Smith was a good prospect for him, but Torrey Craig is going to be able to play defense and shoot the three and run the floor like they need to more. Especially since you had DeAndre Ayton back, and JaVale McGee is actually playing really well right now. So Suns, man, they look like the number one team in the league, and they've been playing like it. Continue. Shout out. All right, we're going to travel over to Wednesday. And to start off, we got the Nets and the Knicks. We got a battle of New York. And I'm going to take a wild card, my first wild card of the week, and I'm going to go with the Knicks in this one. I don't like the Knicks. I don't like what they got without Kevin Durant right now. Just without, until they get those pieces together, until Steve Nash, who definitely is one of my favorite players of all time, gets his lineups together, especially while still missing KD, I think that they're going to continue to struggle. And that's a hard team to struggle against as your inner city rival, the Knicks. And I just don't think that Evan Fournier, Alex Burks, and Julius Randle are going to let that down. RJ Barrett's playing really well right now, and I think that they got some good pieces going forward. They might be a play-in team. They might be. Who knows with the Knicks, but they're better. They're playing better than the Nets right now. So I'm gonna go with them as my wild card, my first wild card. All right, next we got the Raptors traveling to Minnesota to play the T-Wolves, and this is gonna be my third chance of the week for today, and I'm definitely going with the T-Wolves over the Raptors. This was a hard one for me. I think the T-Wolves was at home, so it's at home for this one. Cat is an all-star playing like one. Anthony Edwards definitely is one of the top young players in the league. He's playing like it. D'Lo's back and playing really well. It just depends on the day, man. Both teams are 7, 8 players deep with full of talent that they can just come out and just run at you with. I just don't know that there's much of separation between these two, and I think that the home field advantage goes towards Timberwolves in this one, so I'm rolling with them. All right, this will be the third game for Wednesday is the Jazz at the Lakers, and this will be my second wild card pick. I'm going with the Lakers over the Jazz, and this pick scares me. I'm not gonna lie. I just don't think that the Jazz can play inside. Are going to score enough inside to keep up with the Lakers at this point. I think that this back half of getting towards the back half of the season, something usually clicks in Russ's head in the back half. Yeah? And if he can come in and just attack the rim when LeBron and AD are not there, or when LeBron's out the game, I think that they're going to get it right at some point. I think he's still one of the top players in the world, and AD is as well. I just don't see the Jazz, who have been in a slump recently, turning it up again on this one. I mean, it's hard to pick it, but I don't know why, but I'm just feeling the Lakers in this one. I think Malik Monk and Austin Reeves, the backup, the backcourt defense that the Lakers do have will shine bigger than what the Jazz have behind Jordan Clarkson and Spider Mitchell. All right, we're gonna roll right on over to Thursday, and we got the Heat traveling into Charlotte to play the Hornets, and this will be my third lock of the week. I'm going with the Heat. I don't know what's wrong with the Hornets when it comes to some of the top tier teams. They can come out and put up 140 plus points on a team one day, and the next day lose by 30. They have so much talent. They have so much talent, and it's such a fun team to watch. But until they mature with that talent, it's going to continue to be inconsistent. And I think the Heat are just going to wax them again, like they've already have early in the season. So next we got the Wizards traveling to Brooklyn to play the Nets, and I'm gonna go with the Wiz in this one. I think that Kristaps Porzingis should be able to play in this one. So I think that he would be a well-needed presence in the middle. They do need some shot block in the middle, and I think that they have enough scoring. I think that losing Trez is going to be huge, but I think Porzingis is an upgrade for them. Spencer Dinwiddie didn't play well this year, so getting rid of him and Bertans was actually pretty big for them. I think they definitely upgraded with Porzingis in that trade. So shout out to them. I think that they've got even better, and the Nets are still going to be the Nets until they get it right. Until I see them get it right, which is not going to be this week, I'm not going to bet with the Nets. There we go. All right, last but not least, we got the 76ers traveling to Milwaukee to play the Bucks. And this is going to be my third and final wild card pick of the week. I'm going with the 76ers. I think that Joel Embiid is going to have the time of his life in this one, going at Giannis. I think Giannis is going to turn it up because he's playing against Embiid as well, and if James Harden is there too. I think Giannis is going to definitely try to hit that second gear that he has. But I just think that Joel Embiid is playing ridiculous right now. There's been a weight lifted off that franchise with Ben Simmons being gone. I think that they're going to come out revitalized. I do not think that the Bucks got better in this previous trades, as better as the 76ers did. So shout out to 76ers. I think that this might be this will definitely be my wild card pick of the week. Third and final. All right, guys, that's it for Vegas, baby. When I come back, we definitely gonna run right into hot news, not news. So stay tuned, guys.
Hit that like and subscribe button, and we always love feedback, so leave a comment. Now, back to your regular scheduled program.
What?
What's up, guys? It's Hot News and Not News, a segment where we go over the latest topics in the world of sports. And if it's hot news, we're going to talk about it a little bit more. And if it's not news, we're going to explain why and keep it pushing. So I'm going to jump right into some of the biggest news, hottest news right now. I think one of the biggest stories of the past week is Kyler Murray, the former number 1 overall pick by the Arizona Cardinals, has unfollowed and deleted all Cardinals mentions from his social media. Now, do I think that this is news? Yes, definitely news. The reason why is because if Kyler is not happy in that situation, I don't think that he's re-signing. And in today's NFL, in today's world of sports, players are definitely looking for more control out of their own situations than ever before. I think that, re-signing with a long-term deal with a franchise does hamper your situation. It does put you in the ball in a corner like this to limit what opportunities you do have going forward. So I think that it is huge to see a quarterback, number 1 overall pick, a few years in, finally make it to the playoffs, and that shows this connection that organizations have right now. But I think it all stems from that reports that when the owner decided that he really didn't want to pay the coaches for the playoff game, when the owner starts talking about what he don't want to pay for, like that also includes who you don't want to employ. And if Kyler Murray, who definitely has a big relationship with Cliff Kingsbury, is going to be unhappy with a new coaching staff, I don't see him staying around. And if he hits the open market in a year or two, that is huge news. I think that you can, first of all, you cannot let a quarterback like that walk. Secondly, if you've messed up their relationship to that point where he wants to go, you have to trade him and get something for him. So he's going either way. So you got to get something for him in return. You can't just let him walk out there. You can't let him walk and you get nothing in return for him. So I think that this is huge news. Huge news. It just showing some of the internal discombobulation is going on on the Cardinals organization. Whew. Man, it could be a sign of big things to come. We can only watch and see though. Next, I definitely think we should talk about, bring up at least the Las Vegas Raiders have hired the New England duo including Josh McDaniels as their coach and GM. Now, do I think that this is news? It is news for the NFL and wise as well, but it's not hot news though. I think that if they were able to keep Versace, would have been hotter news for the Raiders because of how much his team liked him. Now, Josh McDaniels was a coach beforehand, and we know how that all ended out when he was fired for essentially cheating, getting caught cheating. Man, he's a smart guy, but you never know what you're getting down there in the Raiders organization, especially when you thought that John Cruz would be your coach for 7 more years going forward. So, it's too early to see if this is big news or not. I think that it's just unseen at this point what that GM, who wasn't essentially the GM last year, was only the de facto GM for the Patriots, is able to bring in and keep for the team. So who knows? It's a tough division that they're in. So you can see them like it wouldn't surprise anybody if they were to lose that division at all, or be back at the bottom of that division. But no, I don't think that. But especially with the Chiefs and the Chargers on the rise. Next, we definitely want to talk about something I've already brought up earlier in the show: Aaron Rodgers buying land here in Tennessee, like to essentially Nashville. Now, do I think that is hot news or not news? I think it is definitely not news right now. Players buy land everywhere. Tennessee, Mississippi, some of those states like that, South Carolina, I think as well, North Carolina. I think those are some great states to buy land in at this point because there's no state income tax. The property taxes are going to be lower. Some of the state and local taxes are going to be as well lower. So it will be easier to keep more money in your pocket if you're a player who's paying out, immense amounts of taxes up front out of your checks already. So, no, I mean, until there's more that happens from this story that justed him buying land in a place in the United States where it's cheaper than other places, I don't think that this is news. All right, and last but not least, the NBA trade deadline has come and passed. There were some huge trades in this one, so I definitely think that this was hot news. And it started off with Karis LeVert being traded to the Cavs. I think the Cavs only gave back Rubio, who was out for missing the rest of the season, the first round pick in 2 seconds, but while getting back the second round pick. Like for a guy in Karis LeVert who can get his own shot, who definitely can put up 20 points any night that he gets the touches. I mean, that's something they definitely needed, especially when you don't know what you're going to get from Colin Sexton health-wise the rest of this year. I think that Karis LeVert is a good offensive option to add to a team that is one of the top 5 teams, or if not top 5 teams in the league, in the East. Don't give him that. I think that they definitely made a huge move for a team that's already really good right now in the Cavs. So, I mean, CJ McCollum going to the Pelicans was huge, not just for a team that's trying to win and trying to change their narrative this year and win, but for the future as well. You give a veteran star who's on the right side of 35 to play alongside Zion Williamson for the next few years, and while keeping Brandon Ingram as well. I think that was huge in that team. I think there was definitely some teams that got way better in this. I'm not so sure that the Kings got way better. They did get Sabonis, but when you give up Tyrese Halliburton, and you gave up Buddy Hield, I think that was too much of a trade of offer to give up. Now, and inversely, that definitely made the Pacers a very interesting team going forward. Now you have, Malcolm Brogdon when he comes back healthy. You got Tyrese Halliburton. You have Duarte. You got Buddy Hield, who's a sniper now. I think his shooting wise is going to be an upgrade over Karis LeVert. You still have TJ Warren, who hasn't played this year and coming back. You still got, they were able to keep Miles Turner as well this year. So, I mean, they got some really decent pieces down there. And I think that they're definitely a team to watch now. I also think that the Suns, even their smaller moves, getting Aaron Holiday and getting Torrey Craig were huge for them. Aaron Holiday is another point guard that can score as well. I think he's an upgrade over Elton Payton. I think that we brought him him in. He played really well, but Aaron Holiday is definitely that third point guard, second or third point guard behind Cameron, sharing with Cameron Artis-Payne for Chris Paul. I think that he's going to be very big in that. And Torrey Craig is huge, a rotational guy for us. He played really well for Phoenix last few years. He's going to come back in and play really well as well. You can't have too many 3-and-D guys. That's just it. You just cannot have too many 3-and-D guys. I also I was looking at my notes. I definitely think that the Hornets definitely got better with that. Adding Montrezl Harrell, he's definitely another catch lob guy, somebody who can play big around the rim for them. Somebody who can also play very good defense close inside for them as well. You would think that PJ Washington would take a step up. Miles Bridges step up because of their athleticism, that they can play better around the rim. But you know that Miles Plumlee and Montrezl Harrell are going to be a formidable front court for you to keep people out the paint. I like that move as well. I mean, I feel that there's plenty of teams that got better. I did not mention Serge Ibaka going to the Bucks. If he can stay healthy, that's going to be a big trade for the Bucks. Them getting bigger on the inside, especially with Brook Lopez being out right now. You don't know when, again, injury-wise, what you're going to get from him going forward. So Serge Ibaka is a huge upgrade as well. And biggest move is something I think we should definitely talk about in my final thoughts. Ben Simmons, James Harden, that was just a crazy trade in itself, man. So I think that overall the trade deadline was huge. Some teams definitely cleared a lot of cap space for big moves this offseason, whether it be loading up on draft picks, whether it be for potential trades, or whether it be taking on some of the older expiring contracts like a Joe Ingles or Ricky Rubio, so that you can have increased cap space for going into next year for free agency. I think that it's going to this trade deadline made next offseason. It starts off next offseason already more interesting than most off seasons have already been to this point. So I mean, it's going to be one of the craziest off seasons again, and I can't wait for it. And the trade deadline definitely left a lot of stones unturned, especially with the Lakers, especially with some of the other teams that you would think would have made moves to get better or to relieve themselves of some contracts that are not going to help them. So, all right, guys, when I come back, we're going to do just that. We're going to go right back into my final thoughts, and we're going to cover some of that. We're going to cover that crazy Ben Simmons and James Harden trade. So stay tuned, man. Don't go nowhere, guys. And welcome back, guys. We're going to go right into my final thoughts for today. And I definitely want to talk about that James Harden and Ben Simmons trade that happened at the last minute on the trade deadline. Man, the Nets were able to pull Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and Andre Drummond with 2 first-round picks in the next 2022 draft and in the 2027 draft. I think they still have a swap option on that for 2027 as well. The 76ers in return were able to get James Harden and Paul Millsap. Off top, I do believe that the 76ers did not win this trade. The Brooklyn Nets were able to get the best out of it, because if Ben Simmons is who he was at least last year, he's the top defender, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Sorry. You also add a sniper in Seth Curry, and you add a great rebounder in Andre Drummond, while also getting 2 first round picks, including one coming up in this next draft. I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a lottery pick, but it's definitely still a first round talent that you can add or to use it for a trade bait later on. Now, if you don't get nothing out of Ben Simmons and say that like the issues get worse and the way that he doesn't want to play, then yes, the 76ers definitely want to trade. But otherwise, like I still like what the 76ers got out of that because James Harden is a top-notch scorer when he's healthy and when he's playing good. At times, like he's one of the best, if not the best scorer in the league at some point in times. And adding him, you're not missing much with Steph Curry leaving and Ben Simmons, Andre Drummond. He adds more a scoring efficiency, even though he's not three people. He might not add as much rebounding as Andre Drummond but he also is a very, very good playmaker. So he can replace Ben Simmons in that aspect as well. I mean, it definitely gives you more on the floor than you would have with those three players all together. So, but what Brooklyn needs having somebody big in the inside, getting rebounds, definitely need that. They definitely need more shooting, reliable shooting. They definitely need more playmaking ability and defense. And they got all three of those things with those three players. Now, I know James and Ben Simmons would not play. I think that James was quote unquote hurt with a hamstring injury, but I just think he was not playing. He was ready to move on. And when it came out he didn't like Brooklyn, you knew that it was definitely something going on there in which he was definitely pushing his way out. I feel that Philadelphia is a better place for James Harden than Brooklyn, New York. First and foremost, Philadelphia 76ers have a bigger fan base and a truer fan base, if I can say that, have a truer fan base than Brooklyn. I think that a lot of people from Brooklyn, there's millions of people from Brooklyn, so there's a lot of people who are going just to rep their hometown. There's a lot of people in Brooklyn, and they're going to rep where they're living at. But 76ers in Philly sports, all the general, have some of the die-hard fans in all the sports. They're going to love James Harden from the time he walks in the building because he wants to play there. He wants to be there, unlike Ben Simmons. So I think that they're going to give him all the love and support. I think it's a less busier city. It's more comfortable to a Houston atmosphere than Brooklyn would be. I think that he definitely has like the stars there, Meek Mills, some other Philadelphia stars, the football team, the Eagles there to hang out with, to be in the limelight with. It's not too far away from Brooklyn, so you can still be able to go to parties and things like that. But I mean, I think that giving him and James, giving him a role player, giving him a co-star in Joel Embiid is going to be just ridiculous to see. I do agree with some of the takes that they could be some of the best pick and roll tandem to ever play. Those two are just monsters when they and have no conscience on the offensive side. They seem to say what they're going to do defensively. Joel Embiid stepped it up defensively, but we know James Harden ain't playing much defense. This definitely is going to be big and different for James Harden. In that sense, I think Ben Simmons is going to be okay in Brooklyn because if you know Ben Simmons, he's had cameras follow him all throughout high school, and he was making a documentary in high school at the top, one of the top colleges in the country in Mount Vernon. He went to LSU and was still being documented, the number one overall pick. So living in Brooklyn, New York is not going to be too much for him, and he might be all right with just that, even though he is one of the more quiet, dejected stars in the league. So now I do sympathize with James Harden. I wouldn't want to be there no more, to be honest with you, because the Brooklyn Nets did lie to him. They sold him a bill of goods that they were not willing to live up to. they sold him that they were going to be a big three that they're going to be together to try to win a championship for the next few years together. And with the first drop of the hat, first chance that could happen, Kyrie Irving's out again, not playing. And even when he came back, you know what I'm saying, he still was still a part-time player, leaving them still on a 9 to 10 game losing streak before James Harden decides to sit out. So I mean, I just don't see like what's the problem with James trying to get out of Brooklyn at that point. I mean, you're not going to win a championship like that with part-time players, giving in to players that are not selling in, and making players that are not 100% selling in have one of the biggest voices on the team. I would have asked him, like Kyrie when he came back, hey, do you see the rest of the league that is vaccinated? At least the rest of our team, the coaching staff, the people in the buildings, everywhere, the referees that are vaccinated and have not had any issues, like, you know what I'm saying, that other people are trying to, conspiratorially say about getting the vaccine and shots. So why don't you think about getting it, or so we can be 100%? Kevin Durant comes back, we go hard, we can go hard and try to get this chip this year. And if Kyrie says no, me personally, I would try to fight him. Now, I don't think James Harden would be as aggressive of a person as I was as in my younger days. But you got two realistic choices, or three realistic choices. You sit there and you take it and you lose, knowing that this is a losing situation. You fight, and you fight for what you believe in, literally and physically. Literally and not physically, but non-literally. You fight somebody, or you just get the hell out of there. And when James Harden was like, all right, well, hey, I said what I said. Nobody wants to listen to me. Kyrie Irving's right. You're losing. So get me the fuck out of here. And he had a whole right to get the hell up out of there. I think that Kyrie Irving is the reason why. Just looking outside, looking in, only speculating. There's no way nobody else is putting up with that. At home right now, and drop in the comments if you watch it. If you disagree that you would not be PO'd and try to get out of that situation, or you would not fight for your career in that situation with Kyrie Irving. That's definitely something that was written all on the wall at first. And the way Kevin Durant, with the smirkiness drafting, I thought that was hilarious. He wouldn't draft James Harden for the All-Star game. I think that it showed, though, that Kevin Durant let Kyrie do Kyrie. We want him to play ball at the end of the day. And that's not winning you a championship. When Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving came to James Harden like, hey, we've won before. We know how to win, and we want to bring you in so we can continuously win championships. And within the first year or so, you can be big on displaying any championship caliber basketball. It's time to get it. Shout out to you, James, for getting out of there. Ben, hopefully, fit in, do what you do. But I think that Ben Simmons fit in right with Kevin and James Harden. I think Kyrie Irving. I think that they did develop two big threes. And so James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Tobias Harris is a formidable big three, and they will play huge this year. They're going to be a tough team all year. And for the years to come, they keep that team together. Also, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving is a big three. There were three All-Stars. They're definitely All-Star caliber players. And I'm excited to see how those three play together. I think that Ben can run the show, and those two can score all day. So that's going to be crazy to see. Now, also what was created as well is I feel like a new rivalry Like the 76ers and the Nets are going to have a rivalry for the next few years. As long as James Harden's on that team, I think that they're going to have a rivalry. And I think if everybody's paying attention to Joel Embiid, he is all up for all the smoke. So he's not going to do anything but pour gasoline on that fire. At the end of the day, it's going to be amazing to see. I can't wait to see how these fireworks go for these two teams playing against each other. I think that James Harden and the 76ers might have the edge to start off, but who knows what's going to happen in the years to come. All right, guys, that's my final thoughts for the day. Hey, if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you have as well, I mean, definitely shout outs to you for the viewer. Man, share this video if you want to as well. We definitely would appreciate that. But always, thank you for watching. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody in the Chism Channel organization that had a hand in putting this together. You all guys already know I couldn't have done it without you guys. Hey, again, I'm your host, Jackie Chism. This was the Chism Sports Groove, episode 23. Hey, my numbers do magic, guys. Till next time.
Brought to you by the Chism Channel and TCC Productions.